In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make an arrangement in a julep cup. Julep cups are my favorite vase choice for a small table, like a side table or a bistro table or a cocktail table, where you want something a little bit bigger than a bud vase, but not a huge arrangement. My name is Ellen Frost. I'm a florist. I write a weekly newsletter all about flowers, and I run an online community called FlowerMore for flower nerds who want more flowers in their life. If you think you're a flower nerd too, check out the link in the notes for more information. So a julep cup is actually a drinking cup, and it's a cup that's used for a cocktail, usually a mint julep. And it's a metal cup because I guess bartenders want to keep the drink cold, so they're usually silver or pewter. This is a julep cup that is actually designed for a drinking cup, but I'm going to use it as a vase. This is a copper, and I love this specific color julep vase because it's so pretty. It's perfect for fall. I love using it for the fall. And every vase that you use has, a different size, different shape, different characteristics that are going to inform how you make your design. So the thing about a julep cup is that it's narrow at the bottom and it's wider at the top. And so it's really going to let me put my stems in at an angle and make a nice wide full arrangement, even though my vase is kind of small. So I'm going to start with some foliage, and as I'm choosing my elements, I have to remember that I have to think about the proportion. This is a small vase and it's going to be a small design. So I don't want any flowers that are too big. I'm obviously not going to use something like a sunflower in here. I want to make sure that all of my elements are proportional to the vase. So I'm just going to start with some eucalyptus, and I'm thinking, 1 to 1.5 times the height of the vase, so not too tall. I'm putting my stems in at an angle, and you can already see just with one stem that my stems are splaying out to the side, which is going to help me have a nice wide arrangement. Okay. So you can see already, it's narrow at the bottom, wide at the top. It really allows me to have a nice wide arrangement. So the next thing I'm going to put in are some of my line flowers. So I've got my foliage. I'm going to put my line flowers in. Line flowers grow up the stem rather than a face flower. You can see the difference there. So this is amaranth, and I'm going to cut it pretty short, but I am going to let it sort of stick up a little bit in my arrangement. I want to make sure that you can see this pretty curl here. And remember that this is a wide opening, so you're going to need, it's a little bit deceiving, you're going to need a lot of flowers to fill this cup so that it feels nice and full. If you were nervous, you could put a little small piece of chicken wire inside. That would help keep things in place a little bit. You may even get away with using a couple fewer stems if you use chicken wire in there. So I'm going to use one more line flower. This is a plume celosia. And again, I'm going to cut it short, but I want these tips to be sticking out. Next thing I'm going to do is put in some secondary flowers. These are marigolds. Marigolds are hardly ever a focal flower. I mean, unless you don't really have anything else. Marigolds are great as secondary flowers because they do well as background color. They're not the thing that is going to be the showiest piece in the arrangement, but I love that they add some nice touches of color. And I think I might only need 3. I'm going to save those and see. The next thing I'm going to put in are my focal flowers. And so you have to be really careful with focal flowers for an arrangement this size, because you can't have anything too big. So ball dahlias are perfect size for an arrangement like this. And because this arrangement's short, in case you have some shorty stems, either some side shoots that you cut off or maybe a grower just brought them in short to you, you can really use these short stems in an arrangement this size. So I've got some short stems here that I'm going to put in. And as a focal flower, this size is perfect. And I always like to put things in odd numbers. So that's, 3 marigolds, 3 dahlias. I'm gonna leave it at 3 for right now and see if I need any more. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit of filler flower in. This is Rudbeckia Henry Eilers. This is one of my favorite Rudbeckias. It actually is my all-time favorite Rudbeckia. It has these pretty quilled petals that I just really, really love. So it's also very branchy, so you get a lot of cuts off of one piece. These are gonna add a lot of sort of interest and whimsy to your arrangement. And because you're using a really short arrangement, you can break off a lot of these side shoots into really small pieces. I'm going to put a few more of these in. Like I said, look how branchy, just from that one piece, I've probably gotten, I don't know, 6 or 7 cuts off of it. Lastly, I'm going to put in a few bits and pieces. I had some whites, but I think I'm going to keep white out and just let this be a really rich, colorful arrangement. So some of these bits and pieces are going to be billy balls or craspedia. These are totally dry. I've had them in the shop for at least a month, and they're so fun. They keep their nice yellow color even when they're dried. And I like to put them in as little clusters, like a little cluster of 3, so they don't feel too dotted. I remember years ago, Carol Caggiano, who was a florist friend, came and did a training with us, and she used the example of gomphrena, which is basically the same size and shape as craspedia. And she said you don't really want to put them in as singles because it feels like polka dots in your arrangement. She really liked to put them in clusters. So I've started to do that with craspedia. I do it with gomphrena. And I really like how it looks, these little clusters of 3. All right. So there is a mint julep arrangement. Perfect size for a cocktail table, or a side table, or a bistro table. Really perfect size for any small table where you really want a nice pop of color.